Blue Beetle is directed by Manuel Soto. It stars Xolo Mariduena in the titular role. And in the first movie of the DC Universe, the Reset DC Universe, Jaime Reyes is bonded with a relic of alien biotechnology that protects him at all costs, gives him powers, protects him with a new suit. It protects him at all costs, whatever the cause is. So here we are, the first movie of the DCU, or whatever it's called. It's the Reset DC Universe. We've moved on from the DCEU, that terrible cinematic universe. We're starting off with Blue Beetle, a hero that I don't know much about, really. I cannot really say I was excited for this film. As I said, I really don't know much about this character, but the trailers sold me. It looked incredibly simple. And I was right, the movie is simple. Blue Beetle does nothing different with the superhero formula, but it still has a lot of heart and emotion behind it. The main thing that works about this movie is the family aspect. Every member of the family has some different personality and character trait. They all have chemistry with each other, the actors, and they're just all a lot of fun. I really did like Jaime's dad, who's like the mentor guy. But George Lopez as the uncle, I forgot his name, Uncle Rudy I think his name is. We'll get to his performance later, but let's just say he was probably my favourite character in this film. But all the emotion rests on Jaime. He is easily the more interesting character. He's just a likeable guy, you know. He loves his family, he'll protect them, he'll protect anyone that's in danger. He's just a really likeable guy overall. Even when he gains his powers and the Blue Beetle Scarab, he still sticks to this no-killing rule that most really likeable superheroes stick to. Just makes him more likeable. But what I do like is that the villain, Carapax, kind of tests his morality and his view on killing people. And for me, Carapax is a really good villain. In fact, he's probably the best villain in a DC cinematic film. Ooh. Well, we've had a lot of bad villains in this universe. I can't really name one. But yeah, he was a great villain. He had a horrific backstory. Horrible backstory. He lost his family. He's pretty much lost all humanity now. And happiness. He's basically a shallow version of the man that he once was. And you can also see why he feels a bit jealous about Jaime and his family. And how he thinks that his family should be taken away from him. You know, if he can't have a family, why should he have one? So you don't agree with his motivation, but you could at least, again, see why he may come to that conclusion. He's pretty much Jaime's alter ego, really, and he really tests him. He kind of beats Blue Beetle to the ground in a lot of scenes, so he was a big test. He was a good villain, big scary villain, so yeah, he was a real threat to Blue Beetle. And he created most of the emotional moments for Jaime and his family. In fact, one scene was brilliant with the emotion. For me, it was the best scene in the movie. I'll even go far to say I nearly cried when that scene was playing. In fact, these emotional scenes are so good, and I will say this movie is very comedy heavy. There is a lot of comedy in this. But they managed to balance those tones really well. I didn't really find many tonal inconsistencies apart from the odd times, so yeah, I think the tonal balance was pretty solid in this film. And it helps that the comedy is pretty good. I found myself laughing a number of times. I was with a couple of friends to this showing when I went to see it yesterday. We all had a laugh. There was many jokes where I gave out a good belly laugh. So yeah, the comedy was actually a big step up to most superhero movies, to be honest. And I mentioned it earlier, but George Lopez, who plays Uncle Rudy, best character to me. This guy was so funny. George Lopez just brought the right amount of insanity and just madness to the role to make him really funny and not annoying. He is just great in this film, and everyone else is doing a great job too. Xolo Mariduena, who is from Cobra Kai, I haven't watched that show, but I know he's in it. Perfect choice for Jaime and Blue Beetle. Brilliant. If it is true and he does his own stunts, I have to praise him. He was really good. So yeah, he was a great choice for this character. And Bruna Marquezine, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but she plays Jenny, the love interest of Blue Beetle. And while I don't reckon much to that plotline, I think she was pretty good in the film as well. And her chemistry with Xolo was really strong. And I mentioned the action earlier. The action in this was really good. Not just because of the creative choreography, but also for the camera movements and direction. I really like the little touches of whenever Blue Beetle hits an enemy, the camera just quickly moves and then goes back to Blue Beetle. And then a bad guy flies over there, cuts over there, and then goes back to Blue Beetle. I thought it was just a really nice touch to add to the action scenes. And also visually, the film as a whole is just pretty good. There are some nice pieces of cinematography here. I really do like the neon purple and dark blue colour aspect of the film. Really fits Blue Beetle's suit very well. And this is going to be an absolute shocker, especially after the CGI in The Flash. But the CGI in this was actually pretty good. Really good, actually. There was only a few spotty moments where you could tell, yeah, that looked a bit bad. But for the most part, the CGI looked pretty flawless, if I'm being honest. And usually that's very rare with a DC Cinematic Universe film. So yeah, well done DC, you finally got some pretty good CGI for once. But for the stuff I didn't like, I said it earlier, this film does nothing to change the superhero origin formula. Sticks to it so much, doesn't stray away from it, and it's getting to a point now where it's getting tiring for me. And films are just getting really predictable now that follow this formula. I just want superhero films to do something different, man. Please, just try something. Anything. But also one aspect to the story that I didn't like was the romance. Just felt really forced. It kind of just deviated away from the whole love your family sort of the message, which is a good part of the movie. It was just pushed to the side, this plot line. Just didn't really need to happen, really. So, yeah, the two actors had chemistry, but it just didn't need to be there. You're doing more with this character, you could have built it up in future films. I probably would have preferred that, to be honest. And finally, the villain. Carapax is good, but the woman, Victoria Cord, what a terrible villain. She has the most rich person, evil rich person motivation ever. I will say Susan Sarandon, I think that's how you say it, was pretty good in the role. She did well with what she had, which I could tell you now was not much. But her character was terrible. She just sent Carapax to do her dirty work. That's all she was there for. Terrible villain. Did not need to be there at all. So yeah, Blue Beetle is another predictable superhero origin story. There's nothing to deviate from the formula, but it's got a lot of emotion and heart to make up for it. I believe you will love these characters by the end of this film, and you will want to see more of them in the future. And I would love to see Jaime Reyes and the family back in future movies. So yeah, Blue Beetle did its job, didn't do anything different, and I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. A score which I'm giving so many of these superhero films now and shows. Just an inkling that they need to change a little bit, isn't it? And yeah, guys, that is it for the end of this review. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't know what my next video is going to be, but we'll have to see. But I just want to say quickly, thank you for the support on the channel recently. Most subs gained in a week. I know it's 11, but for my channel, it's really good. And people just overall seem to be loving the videos. So, thank you so much for the support. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have seen Blue Beetle, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Have a good day. And see you later.